Hi, hello, this is After Alam. One question I am asked a lot by Muslims is to do with trading, and specifically the question is Forex trading halal? So I decided to make a video or a short series of videos to discuss this specific question. So the question is Forex trading halal? And when people ask this, I don't think they appreciate the nuances behind this question. So really they want an answer, yes or no. And you know, I'm the kind of person when I explain something, I like to explain it properly. So it's not easy to give a yes or no answer, and it's more important for you, whoever's asking the question, or if you're interested in this, it's important for you to understand what you mean by the question, because quite often we don't know what we mean. So I'm going to explain a bit about the background about trading and buying and investing in general, and then I'll come back to the topic of Forex. So first of all, to understand Forex trading, we have to look at trading in general, because Forex trading is just one subset of trading. So we look at trading, it can be trading of anything. So, it can be trading of camels, right? I mean, you can say, this is odd, but it's important to relate trading activity. It's been going on since the beginning of time. I was going to say it's been going on since Islam, but of course it was going on before Islam came to the world. So there's no harm in giving examples of the kinds of trading that happened in olden times. So camels, as one example. So in modern times you can say trading cars. So and nowadays we have financial markets, so you can trade equities, for example. But these all have the same principles. I mean, whatever you're looking to trade, ultimately you're looking to make a profit, right? And in order to make a profit, you have to do some simple things. So you have to buy at a low price, and then you have to sell it at a higher price, right? And if you fail to do this, you're not going to make a profit. And it doesn't matter what the underlying assets are here, right? So these are different kinds of assets. Because ultimately trading is doing this, and either you do it well, you can make a profit, or you do it badly, and you can make a loss. But this is down to skill. So here we're talking about what's permissible and what's not. So the idea of trading it's not new, right? It's not new in the world. I mean, one of the quotes from one of the most famous traders and that I've learned a lot from is Jesse Livermore, and he said speculation. His term was it's as old as the hills, right? It's as old as almost as old as mankind. So whether there've been formal markets or not, trading it's always happened when there's been any form of economy and exchange of assets for value. And in modern day, of course, it's a vast enterprise. I mean, so much of the world's value goes through the financial markets and trading that it's actually mind-boggling. Okay, so trading on its own, there's nothing wrong with the concept of trading. The concept of trading in Islam is fine, and of course there were many. I'm not going to make this a discussion about fiqh or scholarly issues, but it's important to note that many of the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, many of them, well, quite a few of them were traders, and some of them were very wealthy, right? And this is through trading. This is it's a sign for us clearly that trading on its own is fine, but there's certain elements of it that can take it into something that's a fine activity, into something that's questionable, and that's what we'll look at today. So what makes any trading halal? Okay, so we have to look at the assets first, right? So I mentioned things like camels and cars. So the asset has to be okay. So something that's not okay. So for example, if you're trading in alcohol, this is not okay. And if you're trading in drugs, for example, these are not okay, because these are haram for Muslims to consume, right? So to trade them is also impermissible, right? So we do have to look at the assets. The asset has to be Sharia compliant. So this is a relatively modern term, Sharia compliant. So the asset has to be Sharia compliant. And the second thing is the buying and selling of it has to be Sharia compliant. Right? So there are certain rules that must be met in assets, in purchase and sale transactions for them to be Sharia compliant. So let's look at some of the basic rules of buying and selling. So as I said, I mean, I don't want this to be a lecture on technical issues of fiqh, but I'll just introduce some of the basic concepts. So, you know, in order to have a buy transaction, you know, for it to be permissible or halal, you need to have certain things that need to be present. So, for example, you need a contract of some form, and it doesn't need to be written, right? It can be verbal. I mean, there are clear benefits to having a written contract in terms of avoiding dispute, but it doesn't need to be written. A verbal contract is fine. So when you're looking to buy something, so the asset itself must be very clearly described. And so what this means, I mean, this means the quantity, for example, the quality, it depends how it's measured. I mean, it can be number of units, it can be weight. So the amount's got to be specific. The description has got to be specific, especially where there's different types of quality that the market has. And this is very true, for example, in something like gold. And if it's if it's relevant to the asset, you can mention the age. If it's, if it's not new, the price, of course, has to be mentioned. And often, I mean, you want to mention when the price is going to be paid, maybe how it's going to be paid, right? All these things. So these are quite basic things that you need to have present in a contract for it to be Sharia compliant. So what it means is if you don't have any of these things, or if you don't have them in sufficient detail, then this can lead to something called gharar, amongst other things, and this leads to potential for problems in the execution of the contract. That you can, if you don't specify these things, that the seller can actually deliver something that's not what the buyer expects. So this is a form of gharar. So this is one of the reasons why a lack of specific information can make a purchase or a sale contract invalid. So these are some of the basic rules for, if you want to buy something, and obviously the same rules apply if you want to sell something, because it's the same contract. A buy contract is a sell contract, is just from the point of view of the buyer or the seller. So currency has slightly different rules. So currency is not like any other asset. So currency, has certain rules. So often in Islamic law, these rules are derived from rules that are around gold and silver. And there are specific hadith that talk about the parameters of effectively trading gold and silver. That if you, obviously, if you pay for gold and you buy an asset, then this is a sale transaction, right? But if you actually exchanging gold for silver, for example, then this is not a regular sale transaction. This is an exchange of certain types of commodities. And we can say these are commodities that can act as money or currency. So when you exchange one currency for another, the rules are slightly different. And they're more strict, I would say. And there's very good reasons for these being strict, but I don't want to make this a lecture on the economic system in Islam. So just with relevance to now Forex trading, we're talking about exchange of currencies, and there are some rules around this. And the main rules are the exchange must be hand to hand. So this is the wording in the hadith. So in the hadith, in the modern markets, this has an implication. Okay, and the implication is when you buy and sell currency, you must pay immediately. Pay in the other currency, right? So if you're buying gold and paying silver, you must pay the silver immediately. Whereas this restriction, it does not apply in a normal sale, where you can buy an asset, you can buy shares, for example, and you can pay in the future. So you have more freedom in a regular sale, but when you exchange currency, which is Forex trading, right? There are some specific rules, for example, like the one I mentioned here. Okay, so one point I want to make here is some of the key differences between trading and regular investing. Again, this is something I'm asked about quite a lot. So trading, as I mentioned, simply you want to buy low and then sell high, right? This is it. Either you do it well or you do it badly. You make money or you don't make money. But this is the aim. And what's the aim? Investing is the same, right? It's exactly the same thing. So what's the only difference between these? So I would say, we're getting a little bit technical, but the main difference is the time frame. So when you look at trading, for example, you can trade, you can trade every day, and you can even trade within the day. So you can trade every minute, right? So you can buy and sell things every minute in the modern financial markets with access to charts and trading platforms. But investing, I would say, this is longer term. So when you find something suitable for investing, then you buy it. Obviously, you want to buy it at a lower price, and you hope the price goes high. But this is over time, so you might want to hold it for 6 months, or 1 year, or 10 years. If it's long term. But you're not looking to actively buy and sell these every day to rebalance your portfolio or to make profits on single transactions. It's generally a longer time frame. With trading, you are looking to actively rebalance your portfolio, so you can buy and sell single assets or multiple assets in a very short time frame. So I would say that's the main difference between trading and investing, but ultimately it's the same activity. You're buying low and you're selling high, so the main difference, I would say, is just in the time frame. So this is something I'm asked often, is trading halal? And to me, that's, it's a question that makes no sense. Of course it's halal. You're buying and selling things, but there's certain parameters that you need to remain within to ensure it's halal. And it's the same parameters for investing, right? It's very similar. Okay, so day trading. Now, there is something specific about day trading in terms of approach in Sharia and by scholars. And I'll just go over it briefly. I mean, in terms of Sharia, I'm not here to give any opinions. Right, I'm not a scholar and I'm not interested in giving opinions, but I can relate to in general what the scholars tend to agree on, or just deliver the differences in opinions that they have. So now we're looking at day trading. So this is a subset of trading, right? So trading overall, I mean, you can have longer term trading. So you can have, for example, swing trading, position trading, and this can be longer term trading, and it's still a bit different to investing. They say swing, and then you have day trading, which is a certain subset of trading, and this is where you buy and sell in the same day. Right, so if you buy something in the morning, you're looking to sell it in the afternoon or the same day, and sometimes, depending on your time frame, you can buy and sell something, after 30 seconds. If you want, you can. I mean, it's quite volatile, it's a bit risky, and of course you have certain costs like spreads and broker fees to absorb, so you have to bear that in mind when you're doing large volumes of transactions. But it's quite possible if you're day trading, you can do 10 trades in one day. It's possible. It's not something I recommend, but it's possible. So now, when we look at the views of scholars in this, some say it's okay because each trade is separate trade, and as long as each one is halal, then it's okay. And we will look in detail of what makes a trade halal, but here we're talking about frequency. And other scholars say it's no, it's not okay because you're trading so often that with the volatility and uncertainty in the market, they say it's it has something more similar to gambling than trading, and this is due to the frequency and volatility. So there's a difference of opinion. On my view is, I don't really have a view. I tend to go to more towards the angle that it's okay, but in order for it to be okay, you must have the skill to trade 10 times a day, and the markets are very dangerous. There's no coincidence that with day trading and CFD trading, which I'll explain, that 80 to 90% of everybody loses money, and that's no coincidence. So if you're going to be part of that population, then go ahead. Then you are treating it like gambling. And what I mean by here is, if you're going to be part of this population, is that you don't have the skill or the education, and you don't want to get it. right? So if you don't want to learn about it and just give your money to somebody or trade yourself and, you know, very likely lose all your money, then it is like gambling. And it doesn't matter if you trade every 30 seconds or if you trade once a week. And frequency doesn't really matter in my view, but risk does.